Here we go again, everybody. This is the In My Grow Show, the podcast dedicated to taking the mystery out of cannabis. I'm Alex Robles. Once again, I want to thank all of the artists who let me use their music to put this show together. You can usually find out who they are at the bottom of the show notes. It's going to say music. I also want to give a special thank you to everybody who's bought a t-shirt or supported the show on Patreon. I appreciate that very much. All that support helps me put this show together. And of course, I want to thank you for listening, because without you, there is no us. Ooh, you like that, huh? That's smooth, huh? You can go ahead and use that. You can go ahead and tell your significant other, hey baby, without you, there is no us. That's alright. I won't tell anybody. But again, thank you all for showing up. So what do I got going on? Let's see. I know I need to order more recharge. Recharge is, what, a soil conditioner, microbes? Yes, both of those things that I add to my water when I feed all of my gardens, my vegetable, cannabis gardens, because the microbes it has in it is going to let the nutrients become more plant available. This product is put together by a guy named Scotty Reel. He's out of Colorado. And he also has a podcast that he puts together with another guy named The Dude. It's called The Dude Grow Show. It's a lot of fun. You should go check them out. They're also a really good resource for cannabis cultivation and cannabis culture. Culture and cultivation. And they also have a great community over there, the DGC, who's a whole other wealth of knowledge unto itself. But anyways, I have to order more recharge. And if you live anywhere on planet Earth, you know that this summer has been really hot. Now usually my IPM, my integrated pest management, it's pretty solid. It works for my grow style. You know, I keep pest well managed. But this year I've had an issue with spider mites. It's been a true battle. You know, I had posted a picture up on Instagram, and when I took it, you could see the little white dots, the signs of spider mites. And I knew somebody was going to notice it. And they did, which is fine. I don't mind posting pictures of the little spider mite damage. We all get it sometimes. But this person suggested to use a pyrethrum fogger. Now, I've never used pyrethrum, so I had to do a little research into it. Fogger really wouldn't work in this situation because those plants were outside. But they do have, I did find a pyrethrum RTU, a ready-to-use spray, that I'm going to give it a try. I don't want to say who the person is on Instagram who gave me the advice, because I don't know if he wants a whole bunch of weird people showing up on their Instagram page. But you know who you are. Yeah, I appreciate the advice. I may actually use the fogger in a couple of grow cabinets. We'll see how that goes. I'll let you know. So like I was saying, I think the hot summer has really brought on the spider mites. I mean, I can't blame it all on the hot summer. I haven't been as active in my gardens as I should be. In my own private gardens, in my own personal gardens as I should be. You know, the best part of any IPM is me. Well, I mean, is you. Is the gardener. Somebody once, I heard someone say once, the best pest management is a farmer's footsteps. I think that's how it goes. I might have butchered that. So yeah, I think some of that was also lack of attention on my part, is why the spider mites have been able to try to give me the middle finger. I don't appreciate that, spider mites. You'll see. I'll get you. Coming up, we're going to talk about strain of the week. Social media wise, I've got email questions from UK Linda. And today's report from the Cannabis Frontline, once again, we're going to talk to Chelsea from Sesame Creek Collective about Sesame Creek being the first recreational dispensary in Ojai. But first, like I said, let's talk about the strain of the week, and I'm going to turn down the music. And the strain of the week, we're going to give a round of applause to White Widow. White Widow is one of those classic strains. You know, the more I do the strain of the week, the more I'm really starting to work on that short list, that top 5 strains for Alex, in case anybody wants to get me a Christmas gift or just a gift. Okay, White Widow came out in the mid-90s out in the Netherlands. Greenhouse seeds. It's a cross between a Brazilian sativa landrace and a southern Indian indica. I love the nice flowery smell of White Widow. It's like I said, it's that, when I think of a flowery cannabis, it is that classic perfumey cannabis bud smell. And that sativa dominance, I really feel it. You know, it really keeps the creativity going. It really keeps the energy up. You know, it's not going to slowly put me to sleep. So the air show's in town, and it's making it a little hard to record a podcast without having airplane noise overhead. So that's why you're going to hear the occasional airplane every once in a while. Where was I? Oh yeah, I will not grow the White Widow. There is something about her genetics and my style that just do not mix. We don't get along. We upset each other and make each other angry. I've tried to grow her twice. And like I said, my style, I'm really like, you know, I'll give you more than the basics. I'll baby you a little bit, but if you need more attention than the other plants, it's not going to go well for you. And she didn't dig it at all. She didn't dig it at all, man. She wasn't having it. Actually, the last time I had a White Widow was years ago. It was in a 5-gallon pot, and it wasn't very tall, but she was just yellow and looking sick and pot bound. And I hate to destroy a female plant because, I don't know, I see the potential in it, and I was like, man, it really hurts. So I gave it to a friend of mine. Shout out to Roy Jones. He took it. He just said he repotted it in the same size container, just a different pot. Shows me a picture like 2 weeks later. She's taller, she's thriving, dark green, the leaves are standing up, you know, she's like, oh, I'm loving it. And I don't know what he does. You know, he's been known to sing to his plants. He's also been known to be naked around his plants. So I'm also real wary to smoke anything with Roy Jones of what he grows. I don't know how he dances with his plants. But anyways, yeah, I don't grow a White Widow, but I will smoke the hell out of one. I'm glad you don't know Roy Jones, because then that full picture of him dancing naked with his plants isn't truly formed. Alright, moving on. Today I've got an email question from a woman in the UK, and we're going to call her UK Linda. And her email says, hello, I have a female indica dominant hybrid in the second week of flowering. It is my first grow, but so far so good. So far I've been killing pests such as thrips, fungus gnats, etc. by hand, but now she's really starting to pop. The pests are increasing. I'm using just a multi-purpose compost, and she's very healthy, but I'm concerned about the pests and their larvae. I've been advised to use nematodes, but as I'm based in the UK and inexperienced in this stuff, I was really hoping you could point me in the right direction of what I need, please, as I find all the technical information very confusing, as I'm not used to all the growers' lingo yet. Any advice is greatly appreciated. Thanks, kindest regards. Alright, Linda, let's see. We have to get used to, first of all, as I said earlier, IPM means Integrated Pest Management. Let's really talk about what that means. In my gardens, and once again, I don't run really big gardens. I'm in charge of a couple of small greenhouses for patients. So my goal is to manage the pest. It's not to have complete pest eradication. That's not possible. There's too many of them. You know, I'm going to keep them controlled. Basically is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for control. Because like I was saying, yeah, just total eradication, like, it's a losing battle. So you understand you have to control them. And you have to put in place a few things so you don't get an infestation. Because once you get an infestation, it's really hard to get rid of any pest or any disease or fungus. What we're trying to do is control these things so they don't get out of hand, so we're not scrambling. And that's what I try to do with my integrated pest management, with my IPM, is to, put these systems in place so I don't have an outbreak, so I don't have an infestation. The first thing and the easiest thing to do is to keep your grow area clean. Mop up any water that's on the ground. Pick up any dead leaves that have fallen on the ground. We don't want to give pests a good environment, a welcoming environment for them to live in. Not just pests, but like I said, other funguses, other diseases. We don't want to give them a nice, awesome environment to live in. So clean your area up. Mop, pick up the dirt, no puddles. Don't leave any standing water in any drip trays. Feed your plant what you're going to feed them, empty the drip trays, or vacuum them out, whatever you need to do. The next thing I do for my IPM is I will top dress some worm castings. I'm a big fan of worm castings. They benefit the plant, not just cannabis plants, but all gardens in a lot of different ways. One of the ways they help the plant itself is that they help the plant make chitinase. So what chitinase does is it breaks down the chitin, which is one of the things that make up the exoskeleton of most pests, of most bugs. So when a pest starts to eat the leaf, they get this little hint of, let's call it spiciness. They don't like it and they move along, or they're less likely to hang out and lay eggs. Worm castings is also going to help feed the plant. It's going to help build the soil also. And it's going to have some of those microbes that help make the nutrients, that help break down the nutrients to make them plant available. I'll also make a worm cast compost tea, because the plant can take up all the benefits from the worm castings a lot quicker than they would from just the raw worm castings, where it has to be broken down. It may take 10 days to see the benefits of the worm castings themselves if you just top dress them, whereas in a worm cast tea, you get pretty quick results, in a day or two for the benefits to show up. Now, she also mentioned nematodes and using nematodes. When I use them, when I order them, I get the Arbico, the 3-part. The reason I get the 3-part is because different pests live in different layers of the soil. The 3-part ensures that all those layers are protected. Now, when I emailed Linda about the Arbico 3-part, she told me that she can't get Arbico in the UK. But if you Google Arbico Organics, it'll get you to their website. And the website will tell you what the 3 different kinds of beneficial nematodes are. Let's see if I can pronounce them. It is the H. Bacteriophora, the S. Feltia, and the S. Corporocapsae. I probably butchered all 3 of those. But like I said, if you go to, let's see, it says here, arbico-organics.com. You can go to their nematodes. It'll show you what kind they are, so you can hopefully find the equivalent wherever you are in the world. As far as using nematodes as a foliar spray, as a spray on top of the leaves, I don't know how effective they are. I know they're really sensitive to UV light, so when I do water them in, I make sure it's at dusk or at dawn when they're not going to get direct sunlight for a few hours. But as far as a foliar spray, not sure how effective they are. But give it a try. Let me know. Send me an email if you're going to try this. If you're going to try to foliar spray nematodes, let me know. If you have information on it, email me at inmygrow@gmail.com. Or you can find me on Instagram at inmygrow and let me know how you use nematodes. Another thing that I use for my IPM is a couple of different foliar sprays. One of them is a neem oil spray. A couple of things that I need to say about neem oil, though. From how I understand it, it's not an insecticide. It doesn't kill the bug. What it does is it makes it so the bug can't molt. Their shell can't harden. So they basically dry out and die. And that's why if you're getting a spider mite infestation, you spray every 4 or 5 days, because it doesn't kill the eggs. It only affects live bugs. But you have to be real careful. You can't, if you overuse it, neem oil is what's known as a heavy oil or a hot oil. It will, like anything, too much of anything, it's going to eventually burn the plant. Because see, what it's doing is bugs have a wax layer on the outside of them that keeps the moisture inside the bug. And what the oils do is it strips off that wax layer, so they dry out. Plants also have that wax layer, and that's why we dilute any neem oil or any other essential oil, is because directly on it, it would just burn the plant because it would strip that wax layer off. And it would just leave it open to the elements. It wouldn't have that protective wax. So if we use too much of it, like if you have an infestation and you try to spray or make a heavy mix and then try to spray every 2 days, you're going to wind up burning your plant also. So that's why neem oil works better as a preventative measure than something that you're only going to use during an infestation, because neem oil alone is not going to solve an infestation problem. If I confused you about anything, let me know, send me an email, and I'll try and describe it a little better. I might have just gone around and around. The other foliar spray that I use is also another oil mixture. It's just an essential oil mix that's going to use a combination of cinnamon oil, rosemary oil, and peppermint oil, or tea tree oil. Once again, the oils is just doing the same thing. It's stripping that wax layer off. And I know I've mentioned this before, but when I make a spray, I use a product called Optic Foliar, because that product helps flatten out the water droplets, because if you leave big water droplets on the plant surface, they're going to turn into magnifying glasses and make little burn marks on your leaves. So we want something that's going to break up that surface tension, flatten it out. And Optic Foliar is really good for that. In the past, I've used a biodegradable dish soap, like a Dawn dish soap, just a couple of drops. And I'm only using a few drops just to make it more sticky, to make it stick to the plant surface. But if I'm going to use the soap, I want to make sure that I spray in the evening or in the morning before the plants are going to get any sunlight, before the plants are going to get any direct light. Because that solution with the dish soap is going to bead up, turn into beads, not beat up your plant. But it's going to turn into beads, and it's going to turn into those magnifying glasses. But I'm not going to use it in flowering, okay? I don't use any foliar sprays on my flowering plant after about the second week of flower, maybe the third, depending on the strain, how long they go. Because here's what happens, especially if you're going to spray anything like neem on it. If you spray after that time period, the plant is just going to grow around that application and encase the neem oil or whatever spray or whatever insecticidal soap you use. The plant is going to just take that in and incorporate that into the oil, and you're going to have a poor tasting, a poor smoking cannabis flower, okay? Because the oils are just going to absorb that and take that in and make that part of the flavor profile, and it's not going to be a positive thing. So remember that. That's also why when I top dress the worm castings, I also add a little neem cake or neem meal. Now, neem cake and neem meal are the same thing. They're just the leftover plant material from when they make neem oil. They take the neem seed and they press it, and all of that leftover plant material is just the neem cake. They dry it out and put it out in the market as a soil additive. So I add that into my top dress because that allows the plant to take up the neem itself and helps feed the plant, because there's also nitrogen in it. It's also going to help feed the plant. So you're going to have to be aware of the NPK for it also. All right, so remember that. And that's all the advice that I could think of to give to UK Linda. So I hope this helps. If you've got any questions about anything you think I can help, let me know. Email me, find me on Instagram. Well, everyone, I'm going to take a short break. When I come back, I'm going to have that phone call with Chelsea. So hang tight and listen to some music. Everybody, I'm back, and like I said, I've got Chelsea from Sespe Creek Collective on the phone with me. And before we get started, I want to congratulate you, Chelsea, for being the first recreational dispensary in Ojai. Everybody else is playing catch up.
Thank you. It feels good.
Yeah, I bet it does. So what is it? What's going to happen when I walk into Sespe? Are you going to make me sign a 2-page paper the way that Skunk Masters did down in Port Hueneme? What is that going to look like when I walk in?
We amended our patient agreement. We took out all the stuff that doesn't apply anymore. And it's basically just kind of like a code of conduct. You know, you agree you're not going to give this to little kids on the street. You agree you're not going to litter or loiter in the parking lot. Just those kind of things. And we reserve the right to refuse service to anybody at any time. Just that kind of stuff that you just agree that you come in here, you're going to behave yourself, essentially, and keep it off the streets and not drive with it. That's the other thing.
So
Yeah.
it's 21 and over?
Yep, with a valid ID.
Valid ID, valid California ID or valid any state ID?
Valid any government issued ID, yeah.
Ooh,
It's got to have your picture on it.
Okay. All right. Passport? Passport's good?
Passport's good, yeah.
Okay. All right. You never know. There are tourists out there. If any tourists are out there, you come into Ojai, check it out.
Yeah,
you can
for
pick up your cannabis at Sespe.
Yes.
It's real easy. Okay, so the other thing I wanted to talk about is people have asked me what it takes or what they need to work at a dispensary in California. And since I don't know, I've never worked at a dispensary in California, I thought I would have you on and help educate us about it.
Sure. Yeah, well, I can only speak about my dispensary, and I can't say I have a lot of experience talking to other dispensary operators about their practices. But so just that being said, there's a lot of different roles. I mean, you can be sort of at the front desk, answering phones, checking people in. You can be behind the scenes, working with inventory and vendors, or you could be bud tending and just really working with patients and helping them pick products. And then there's even just more peripheral things. You can be in bookkeeping or marketing or inventory assistant kind of things. So, I mean, the role most people are familiar with is the bud tender, and I would say all of my people have to pass general background checks. There's certain stipulations in different city and state regulations about things that you can and can't have done in your past to be able to work at a dispensary. So we just pass have people pass general background checks. If you've been convicted of a cannabis offense, it's not necessarily a bad thing. We forgive those kind of things, but we just make sure that we're working with safe and trustworthy people in general. We also screen people on other kind of aspects to make sure that they would be a good fit for us, more like conscientiousness and what drives them. We really look for people that are not just in this to kind of make a quick buck and like have fun and like party at work kind of attitude. It's like we take it really seriously. There's a ton of rules to follow. You have to be able to have fun and follow the rules at the same time and stay productive. It's really hard to make a profit right now because of all the regulations that have been imposed on us and the taxes that we pay. And that we can't deduct normal business expenses from our income taxes the way other businesses can. So it's really hard to be profitable, and some employees have the wrong impression that they can come in and it's just like freewheeling and dealing cash, and everybody's just making bank. It's really not the case. You have to work really hard to establish a good reputation with your patients, your clients, your customers, and keep them coming in the door. And it takes a ton of work. I mean, we work really hard, all of us, to pull off what we pull off. So you have to have a good team player kind of attitude. You also have to be able to kind of be self-directed and kind of keep yourself busy during the slow moments, I would say, no matter what role you're in. Mm-hmm.
All right. So then as far as the Bureau of Cannabis Control, they don't really regulate who you can and can't hire?
I would have to triple check that. They're focused more on the owners and background checks on the owners at this point. But there might be something I'd have to double check that stipulates that we have to do background checks. I've always done it as a course of business anyway, so that's kind of a thing that I might not have locked in on in the regs just if I'm already doing it. But the state, I don't remember the state. The city of Ojai does. The city of Ojai has several things in their regulations that stipulate we can't have any drivers that are on the sex offenders list, for example. And they, of course, drivers always have to have clean driving records, no accidents, that they were at fault, things like that.
So
on that note, about driving, do you still do deliveries for adult use in Ojai? Because I know you used to do deliveries. I don't know if you still do though.
We do. We do still do deliveries. We don't seem to be doing that many of them. I think people are excited to come into the shop, or maybe they don't know that we deliver, or combination of the two. But we do deliver, and Ojai allows us to deliver within city limits for adult use as well. We have both permits to do that. So people are welcome after they come into the shop and get that experience. If it's more convenient to place an order for delivery, we're happy to deliver to them in Ojai. I don't think we're not allowed to deliver adult use to unincorporated Ventura or anywhere else as far as we're aware at this point. So we're just sticking for,
I have to check the map. I don't know if I'm in city limits or not. That's all right.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'll make the drive.
We're working on looking into that, but right now we're just kind of managing the flow in the doors and trying to keep up with that. But yeah, see, all the rules are in flux right now, and this state is about to have. This is an important point people should be aware of. The Bureau's regulations, which are currently under public comment period. One of the most contested regulations that they're trying to put forth is to allow delivery drivers from a licensed dispensary to deliver anywhere into any city. So that would effectively mean no more bans on delivery. And there are a lot of cities, they've joined together as a League of California cities that are opposed to this, and they're going to fight really hard, and they've already threatened to sue the Bureau if they pass this. So the Bureau really needs to hear from the public that they support this measure to ban the bans on delivery.
So people just have to email the Bureau of Cannabis Control?
Yes, and there are instructions on the Bureau's website. I can, after this, oh shoot, I should have had it. I don't have it right in front of me.
Don't worry, you can send it.
Comments at, I'll send you the link.
You can send it to me and I'll put it in the show notes, no problem.
Yeah, perfect. I'll send you the link. But people can just say quick comments. I support this. This needs to happen. There's no reason why cities should be able to ban deliveries into my home.
There you go, folks. Get involved. You too can have cannabis delivered to your house.
If you live in the city of Ojai. For adult use. And if you're a medical patient, we can still deliver to you in the unincorporated county and Santa Barbara City.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Well, Chelsea, thanks again for getting on the phone with me. That's all I have. Is there anything you want to let everybody know about? Anything else, I should say?
We just got lots of good stuff coming up, so pay attention to our website. We have a cannabis clinic on sleep coming up. We're going to have a nurse basically in the shop all day to answer your questions on sleep if you're having issues with that, for kind of donation-based fee. She's doing that. She's coming up from LA. She was a speaker at our June 30th event and was really well received. So we're lucky to have Nurse Susan come back. And we just have lots of new products in the stores coming in, and more demo days. So
what's the address?
408 Bryant Circle, Unit C in Ojai.
All right. Well, don't go anywhere, Chelsea. Everybody else,
okay.
I'm going to be right back.
Brothers and sisters, I am back. And I want to thank Chelsea for taking the time again to talk to me. She's a really busy lady. She's got a lot going on. There's something I want to add to that conversation. Folks, brothers and sisters, all right, listen, seriously. If you get a chance to interview to work at a dispensary, put on some nice clothes. Tighten up your resume. Because even though it is weed, I'm sure they're still expecting some level of professionalism during the interview. You know, if you show up there with half your ass hanging out of your pants and you look like you want to be in a Wiz Khalifa video, don't wonder why you didn't get hired. That's all. All I'm saying is, for the interview, pull it together, man. Once you get the job, you can talk to your boss about how you're allowed to wear your pants. That's all. All right. Now, the endocannabinoid system. Okay, so Last time I said I was going to have a new topic about the endocannabinoid system. I do not, and here is why. I'm going to talk to Dr. David Bierman about the endocannabinoid system, and hopefully he's going to answer a lot of my questions about it. Dr. Bierman also wrote a book called Drugs Are Not the Devil's Tool: The History of Drugs, Discrimination, Greed, the War on Drugs, and Why Medical Marijuana is Creating a New Paradigm. So I'm really looking forward to talking to Dr. Bierman. Well, mi gente, my people, that's it. That's all I've got today. Once again, thank you for listening to me. And don't forget, if this show has helped entertain you or educate you in any way, and you're able to support the show financially, go over to patreon.com, look for the In My Grow Show, and drop a few bucks on us. That money helps us pay for hosting fees, make videos, and just keep the show running. If you don't want to donate to Patreon, you can also go to inmygrow.com. You can buy a t-shirt. It says Cannabis Saves Lives. So go over there, help support the show, and get a cool looking t-shirt. If you can't donate to the show, if you can't buy a t-shirt, don't worry about it. But here's what you can do. You can have 3 other people subscribe to the show. That helps us out immensely also. So wherever you're listening to this podcast, tell 3 other people to go over there and subscribe. Well, folks, as Porky Pig used to say, I'm out of here. And don't forget to always grow, learn, and teach.